Hey everybody, Michael the Librarian of Magic, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. Back here on October the 24th with another drawing of a Disney villain for you in this series. We've only got a week left now. We really truly are on the home stretch of these, and it's been a really fun project. I've been enjoying it, I've been learning a lot, and just having fun making the drawings. The same disclaimers for these drawings as always apply, and you can find links to the videos that include those disclaimers as well as my other content at the end of this video. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to show the drawing that I have made for today. Today's drawing is Hades from Hercules. 1999, I want to say. Late 90s, at any rate. And Hades here, the ruler of the underworld, the younger brother of Zeus in the film. I chose to draw this for a variety of reasons. One of the chief reasons is that Hades just seemed like a really fun, unique look of a character to draw. He just has these long lines and angular features, and he's just different. And then also, Hades is one of the most expressive villains in the entire Disney canon. He goes through the wide range of emotions in the movie that a lot of other villains don't have. Usually, most of the villains, you're going to see them as smug and angry and crazy, and maybe from time to time gleeful, but that's kind of about it. Hades runs the whole gamut. He's joyful, he's confused, he's pensive, he's angry, he's sad, the whole range. So I just wanted to find an image that had kind of a cool facial expression, and this was one that I liked, so I decided to try to go for it and copy it down. Another reason, primarily, that I chose to draw this one is I have a couple of little nephews who live on the other side of the world from me, that I only get to see once or twice a year. And they have been, the last time I got to see them over the summer, they have really been starting to get pretty obsessed with the movie Hercules. So I did this one just to be able to think about them, and that was a nice motivator too, just to have Hades and, do something related to them as well. So hopefully, if you ever see this one, guys, you like this one, I drew that one for you. Hades is just an interesting character compared to a lot of other Disney villains. He's a great manipulator. He makes a lot of deals with people and calculates a lot of bargains. And one of the most rare qualities of all Disney villains, he's honest about his bargains. Hades keeps his end of a bargain, even when it doesn't work out in his favor. That's extremely rare. But he's a great planner to try to have enough forethought that he's not going to come out on the wrong end of a bargain. But if he does, he keeps his end. He does have a hot temper that flares up kind of on the turn of a dime, but he's self-aware about it. He understands that he has a hot temper, and he does try to control it. So another rare quality that he has that a lot of other Disney villains don't is that Hades isn't crazy. He's totally sane. He is self-aware. He's not totally self-absorbed. He has evil goals. He wants to try to... He finds the underworld gloomy and depressing, and he wants to basically have Zeus's job. So he's trying to take out all the order above and take it over. So he is pretty, like other Disney villains, he's pretty one-sided on his goals. He's very ruthless. He has little regard for the other people that he's going to hurt to try to achieve his goals. But everything he does to try to achieve those is calculated, and he's aware of himself. He knows what his temper is like, what his own shortcomings are, and that also is what makes him such an expert bargainer. But yeah, I mentioned his ruthlessness. He, even at one point in the movie, attempts to kill baby Hercules with a spiked skull-shaped pacifier. So that even shows like how ruthless he really is, that he's even willing to try to hurt a baby. It doesn't work out for him. Even as a baby, Hercules is able to defend himself, but the fact that he's even able to try is it's pretty ruthless behavior. But on top of all those qualities, being angry, ruthless, manipulating, conniving, he's also extremely comedic. He's a very, very funny character, primarily because of the range of emotions, to see him switch his moods around and those things. That's very comedic. But also James Woods, who does the voice acting for Hercules in the movie, just did a lot of highly funny, ranged, almost sort of improv, in a lot of ways very similar to how Robin Williams did the genie in a sense. Not necessarily comparing James Woods to the great talent of Robin Williams, although James Woods is also very talented in his own right in this case. But he does some similar stuff where he the voice acting he chooses is almost like this word association, where he just has these really funny, rambling, comedic bits. And originally, the character was going to be a lot less comedic and a lot darker. And when they landed on James Woods as the voice actor, it was really Woods who brought the comedic sensibilities to the role that it became. And it really, really works for this character. I think it makes the tone of the movie different than it probably otherwise would have been. And I think that's for the better. I don't think every villain has to necessarily be comedic. I've picked several on this list that aren't, but I think where you can get it to work right, it really can work well. Either you should have somewhere in the movie you should have the villain itself or him or herself be comedic, or you should have something bouncing off the villain that makes for comedy relief in the movie somehow. And it doesn't always have to be near or around the villain. Some movies don't have that at all, like in The Princess and the Frog that I mentioned earlier. None of the comedy is really centered around Dr. Facilier. There's no comic relief in his orbit at all. The comedy relief in that movie comes from the hero characters and their side characters, like Lewis, the trumpet-playing alligator. But sometimes if you put the comedy in with the villain, it really can work, and this is one case where it really, really does. There are a lot of differences between Hades of the Disney movie and Hades of the actual Greek myth, and the differences between the movie Hercules and Greek mythology are far too many to be listed here. There are many. And it's obvious why Disney didn't go for a full-on interpretation of Greek myth. I mean, those stories, if you really tried to bring them to life, they're not kid-friendly. They're filled with incest and fratricide and patricide and infanticide, and they're really there's a lot of stuff that to modern sensibilities is pretty morbid. At the very least, you would want to adapt it in such a way if you're going to make a Disney movie out of it. And so obviously that's what they did. They made a lot of different choices. And also you want to have good guys and bad guys and all those things that are traditional to Disney movies and Western audiences and that kind of thing. But one of the key differences that I can highlight, that I feel like I want to highlight as opposed to the entire list of how it differs from Greek mythology, is the fact that in the actual Greek myth, Hades was not evil at all. In fact, Hades was one of the more personable gods within that mythology. So they wanted to make it so that there was a villain, like I said. But in actual Greek myth, Hades really isn't a villain. He's just a god. He happens to be the god of the underworld and the dead, but he just has another job to do, just like any of the other gods. And in many ways, because of his job, he's much more relatable to human beings than some of the other gods in the actual myth. Also, to that end, Hades in Greek myth is not associated with fire really at all. He's more associated with, I think, earth and gold, if I remember correctly. And I would assume they put fire in here because Western audiences, particularly in the Judeo-Christian tradition of the Western world, have more of a conception of evil being associated with hell and hell being associated with fire. So my basic assumption is that was sort of one of the even if it was unconscious choice on the part of the Disney creative team. That's probably one of the reasons why this Hades is more associated with fire. Also, it just looks visually cool. That's probably another big reason they chose to do that, because he had, like, when he gets angry, he has these blue flames that come off of his head and stuff, and it actually is a lot more visually interesting that way. So that's probably another chief reason, if not the chief reason, that they chose to associate him with fire. Also, because Hades is immortal, Hades is a god, he joins the ranks of the very few Disney villains who don't actually die in their movie. Um, and that's just a very interesting thing to note. Um, so, yeah, Hades, very funny. Great performance by James Woods. Great animation. Hercules is a fun movie. It has a lot of great music in it, and sort of fun voice acting and interesting characters. So that's I mentioned all the reasons I chose it. So that's my drawing of Hades. I'm really happy with the way this one turned out, and yeah, glad I got a chance to do it. Do you like Hercules? Is it one of your favorites? I know that it's not, I wouldn't say that it's highly underrated, but it goes under the radar a little bit. But I also know a lot of people that like it. The music, I think, really is one of the reasons that makes it memorable. I know a lot of people who seem to remember or connect with the Fates and how they sing their songs. And that's kind of a cool feature of the movie. And also, Go the Distance is a really popular and motivational song. So maybe you like it for those reasons. Maybe Hades isn't one of your favorites, but maybe he is. Do you agree with me that he's one of the more expressive and funny villains? If you like this content and you want to give me any sort of feedback about any of those things, or tell me about Hades or Hercules, please comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a subscription. Hit the bell. Tell your friends, share this content, and I will be back again for the beginning of the final week of the Disney Drawing Villains October project for the Halloween season, and we're really getting down to it now. I am so glad that you stayed with me. I really hope you're enjoying these. I'm having a whole bunch of fun making them, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks as always for watching. I hope you're having an excellent day, a magical day. Hopefully this enhanced it in some way, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.